The Louisville, Kentucky-based Southern Baptist Theological Seminary unanimously approved a resolution last week affirming its stance that only men can be pastors. Hello friends, I'm pastor and teacher Jonathan Burris. It is further resolved that this board encourages the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary administration and faculty to continue its theological training with this stated conviction: graduating both men and women for the service to the church, but with men alone reserved for the church and function, and thereby the title of pastor. The resolution states in part, SBTS trustees passed the resolution at their fall meeting last week. The resolution affirms the stance made by SBTS President Albert Mohler, who helped craft the Baptist Faith and Message 2000, which is the SBC's official statement of faith. Dr. Mohler tweeted on Tuesday, "Our SBTS trustees made an important statement last week, passing a unanimous resolution defining pastor as both function and office and limited to men by Scripture as confessed by Southern Baptists in the Baptist Faith and Message. Thankful for them." The resolution comes after Saddleback Church, which is among the largest churches in the SBC, ordained 3 women in May 2021, despite the Baptist Faith and Message 2000 stating that the office of pastor is limited to men as qualified by Scripture. At the time, Dr. Mohler denounced the ordinations as contrary to Scripture and an attempt to redefine and reformulate the convictional foundation of Southern Baptist faith and cooperative ministry. Mohler published an op-ed on his website that said, "The theological issues have not changed since the year 2000 when Southern Baptists spoke clearly and precisely in the Baptist Faith and Message. More importantly, the Holy Scriptures have not changed and cannot change." Some within the SBC went so far as to call for Saddleback to be disfellowshipped from the convention, which is the nation's largest Protestant denomination. But with Saddleback being one of the largest churches in the SBC, that's a tall ask. During the SBC's annual meeting in June, SBC's Credentials Committee Chair Linda Cooper announced that a decision regarding Saddleback will be placed on hold. The Credentials Committee is tasked with handling issues regarding whether member churches abide by the SBC standards. While the committee affirms that most Southern Baptists believe leadership roles such as pastor, elder, bishop, or overseer are limited to men, Cooper told messengers that the committee found little information evidencing convention beliefs regarding the use of the title of pastor for staff positions with different responsibilities and authority than that of the lead pastor role. The committee also called for the creation of a study committee that would have reported at next year's annual meeting a recommendation to provide clarity regarding the office of pastor. Dr. Mohler, however, rejected that idea. "If we eventually have to form a study committee over every word of our confession of faith, then we're doomed, and we're no longer a confessional people," he said to applause from the crowd. The Credentials Committee later called off its recommendation for a study committee. Mohler, alongside New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary President Chuck Kelly and former SBC Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission President Richard Land, issued a statement clarifying the Southern Baptist definition of the word pastor. It is important to understand that the word pastor was chosen precisely because of its clarity among Southern Baptists. The statement carefully affirms that both men and women are gifted for service in the church, but the role of pastor is biblically defined and is to be held only by men as qualified by Scripture. They stressed in their statement published July 29. Friends, how did the SBC get to this position? It obviously didn't happen overnight. When Rick Warren ordained 3 women pastors in May 21, he did not do it in secret. People saw it coming. But it was Saddleback Church. We're at a small church. I believe that disfellowship would have been much more likely. Now, I admit that I say that as presumptive. Beloved, it should not matter who or how big a congregation is. If a pastor or congregation is in error, then the error must be addressed immediately. When issues are allowed to fester, it becomes more difficult to treat. The longer a problem goes untreated, the easier it is for infection to spread. Now, I'm not trying to throw rocks at the SBC. This is one of the most obvious problems of being a big tent organization. In trying to be inclusive, you must inevitably compromise. These compromises begin by compromising form and eventually move to compromising on substance. Our primary allegiance must always, always be to the Scriptures first before any organization or affiliation.